Hey, how you doing? Call the April meeting of the Industrial Building Authority to order. Recognize guests and staff. I saw that Commissioner Pownell had been here, but evidently is leaving. The first item of business will be the approval of minutes from the March 19th meeting. You received a copy of those. Did anybody note any errors or omissions?
Did not, but I make a motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve by Mayor Debbie. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Shipp. Any discussion? All those in favor? I will abstain. I was absent from the meeting. And so there are no, 2 abstentions. Motion carries 4-2. All right, approval of financial statement. You received a copy of those via email. Did anybody have any questions on that? Chuck is here. If not, I'll entertain a motion on the adoption.
Motion to adopt the financial statements.
I have a motion from Mr. Shipp. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Underwood. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Reports and updates. Atlanta Film Studios, Nick Smerrigan.
You're up, Nick.
Come up here probably better, everybody can hear you.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Mr. Chairman. As of April 1st, there's a new show setting up at the studio. They're going to be here April, May, and June, and they've asked for an extension into July. Currently, we're not at liberty to say the name. I think it's basically because they're in the process of either changing the name or getting it copywritten. Behind them, we have two holds. One that is for a game show that is coming on the hills. This is a live show, and there'll be an audience at the studio, probably 150 people. Remember, if they ask you to be in the audience, that it's an all-day affair, okay? You can't leave and go home. And even if the show is an hour or 2 hours per night, it probably takes 10 or 11 hours to shoot. So if you start at 8 o'clock, you won't be out of there till 8:30 at night. So keep that in mind if they talk to anybody about being on the show in the audience. It's an all-day affair. The show that is talking about coming in right after it is a game show with an audience, a live audience. And will be a similar situation where there'll be, it'll be live and they'll shoot 8, 10, 12 episodes all at one time. The show after that is an episodic that will start, is asking to start mid-September and go through the end of July of next year. And there are bids out to all of those shows.
Any members of the IBA have any questions?
Nick, if somebody is interested in going and sitting in the crowd, is there a way they can go about doing that?
I'll check today. The producer flew last night, and he's here, the producer and director. So I'll talk to them when I get back, and I'll send you an email about what they want to do. Like I said, just remember it is a all-day affair, and you have to wear the same clothes. So not that that's a problem for me, but I know some of you people dress nicer than I do. So it's a thing.
You think they'll start shooting in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, the stage is going in today, and probably by Friday, the stage and the lighting will be all up. They're probably going to work through the weekend to get it done, and then they start. The talent is coming in. I hope it's talent, but the talent is coming in, and they're going to on stage two, the shoot will be on stage one. On stage two will be all the background things that when they bring the acts in, you know, they'll do them rehearsing and background stories and everything. So it's a nice show, and the people are real reputable, and they have good resumes of shows that they've done, and I'm sure you've all seen all the shows they've done. So I haven't, but I'm sure you guys have. So.
Do you have an idea as to maybe a number of local vendors they're using?
It's all local vendors. There is no outside vendors. They're talking about, they talked to me yesterday about picking up more crew guys here in town, and Jimmy, who's the stage manager, was giving them some names. The people that they brought are just producers and directors, and first assistants are all from LA. There's about 11 of them. All the rest of them, they're going to crew with local people. And like I said, I don't know. I think at this point they have some of the talent picked, but there are 8 shows, and it might go to 10 shows. So I don't know if they're going to do a search here. So.
Are they using our preferred group guys, or are they using best?
Yeah, well, they're using PRG and Pascal is our lighting company here at the studio, but PRG bought Pascal, and PRG is doing it because it's show lights, and then Pascal is doing all the regular filming lights, but PRG is doing all the show lights, which are the lights that you see that turn and change colors and all of that kind of stuff. But we're, just by association, our deal is with PRG and Pascal together, so our position doesn't change. So they're our preferred vendors. They're using Rock Bottom. Hertz is supplying all the air conditioning and heavy stock and everything. And so they're using all our vendors. Nobody got shit out. So, like I said, they're all pros. They do their thing. They know they know the story. So, and they absolutely love the facility. Blake was one of the people that were instrumental in this part of the negotiation. They think that they're going to have an additional 4 seasons or 4 sets, and Blake was nice enough to negotiate the next 4 segments of the show. So it'll be when they get picked up, they're coming back here to do the next 4 segments. So.
Are they using any of Haddad's trailers?
Yes, they're using Haddad's trailers, hair and makeup, and interview rooms, and mediation room, which I have no idea what that is. I've done this for a long time, and I've never heard of a mediation room. I don't know if there's going to be a fight, but hopefully not. But yeah, they're using his rolling stock.
Good.
Yeah. So, and we don't know who the caterer is at this point. So, but he, I think, has 2 or 3 guys out there with him. So, and they didn't mention they had a preferred vendor.
Any other question?
We do have some great caterers at the chamber, so if you need some caterers, we can provide.
Well,
as
I told them that, I mentioned Haddad, I mentioned the chamber, I mentioned, they love the idea, and the nicest thing about the project for us is when they drive down 278, there's 10,000 companies there, businesses. Everything is there, lumber and everything else like that, restaurants and banks and everything else like that, and they absolutely loved it. They thought that was they thought they were going someplace where they were going to have to make trips, and then when they did the drive-in, they were like, oh, this is great, everything is here. And they even talked about, 2 of the girls talked about, as soon as we get paid, we could just run around the corner and put our money in. So, but it's nice, the situation is nice. The problem that we faced, and I will talk a little bit about it is, the facility is as nice a facility as anyone is going to see here in the state of Georgia. I'd like to be modest about it and say, oh, shucks, but it is. It just simply is. You're never going to find a client that comes and goes, oh my God, this is a terrible studio and it stinks and it's hard to use and everything else like that. It is as good a facility. What we faced in the past, and Blake and I had talked about this, and the chairman and I have talked about this a couple of times, but what I'm fighting in thus far is the people, the location managers in Atlanta, okay, like to keep their stuff close. We're 35 minutes from the heart of Atlanta. I didn't run this show through the film office, okay, on purpose. Once we were all signed, sealed, and delivered, I got a frantic call from the film office asking me, well, you never registered with, and I went, hey, dude, that's not my responsibility to register it with the film office. It's the production's responsibility. My responsibility is to rent them space and provide them services. So they did it under the guise, the film office did it under the guise of, well, we'd just like to know what you have scheduled so we can assist you, okay? To that end, I had a major argument, and I think that Blake knows, because he and I talked about it, with a client that I did in plain sight with for 3.5, 4 years. And we argued about the time thing. He came, saw the studio, loved it, called me back immediately after the tour and said, give me a bid, okay? And he goes, I love this place. This is great. It's all in one. It's so terrific. And then he went with a Atlanta location manager and ended up on the east side, which was a little depressing, and he and I got in a big fight. But it was at a nice restaurant that he paid for, so it ended even. But no, it's a myth about the area. It takes roughly 35 minutes to get from the heart of Atlanta to here. The drive is easy. It's against, I mean, it's not against, I mean, it's against traffic. When people are coming out here, everybody from Paulding is going in. When everybody from Paulding is coming home and these guys are going home, they're going back in. So, look, the facility is excellent, okay? I think that in my opinion, I've taken a more dominant position in getting the sales done, and I've been out to a lot of the people that I've done business with over a long period of time, and have been as frank as I could about it, about this is not a trip. If you're going from Malibu to Universal, every producer and every director lives in Malibu that's worth hiring, okay? And the argument that I had with the guy was simply, if somebody's going to Universal from Malibu, what's the drive? I said, just give me a number, and he went, that's not fair. And I went, how is it not fair? You know, it's the same thing. We're 35 minutes with no traffic. It takes you roughly about 40 minutes to get to a freeway from Malibu, okay? And then the drive is, you might as well shoot yourself in the leg. So it's I'm being a little bit more aggressive. I'm being a little more aggressive with the film office also. I think they've started to bend a little bit to the idea that this is a great facility, an all-in-one facility. The locations out here are magnificent. The airport is magnificent, and Blake knows that because he's had several people talk to him about it, that he's passed on, and we've worked with. The hospital now is becoming, because I think of the structure in the building, is starting to become a draw to locations, and more locations are being shot up here. So I'm happy with where this is going, and like I said, I'm doing a little more with the film office and the politicos down in Atlanta.
Nick, Kevin has been in contact quite a lot in the last 2 weeks with some scouts.
Yes.
Of some reality shows.
Yeah.
And in fact, he has an appointment next week to show some sites.
Yes.
Here in Paulding. And I'd like for you to get with Kevin, because one of them is very familiar with our studio
Yes.
And had some great comments to Kevin about it, so, maybe just to make sure you're aware of that scout, might be good.
Okay, yeah.
I'll have Kevin
I'm,
call.
I'm talking to like 8 or 9 different shows right now, but the 2 that I have bids out to are clients that I've done business with. The people that did Deal and No Deal are the ones that want to come and do the game show, which I told them I'd lower the price if I could win. No, I'm just kidding, that's a joke. Don't, please. But, so, like I said, I think that we have some really good clients, but I'm dealing with 8 or 9 shows, so I'll call Kevin
Yeah.
as soon as.
Yeah, y'all should talk, because
Yeah.
Kevin's showing him some sites, specifically what they asked for here in Paulding next
Yeah.
week.
Now, he's not asking him to be in the reality show, is he?
No.
No, okay, that would be free.
Yeah.
No, he's great. Any other questions? Or-
All right, thank you very much.
You got it, thank you.
Next is update on the Paulding Commerce Park. Blake Swafford.
I think most of you attended the NRO opening, which went extremely well. One great thing about the NRO opening was that it generated some leads for us, for some other companies interested in coming in the park. Hopefully all of you have seen the signage at the Commerce Park. I think it turned out extremely well. We're very happy with the signage. Next steps moving forward, we do have some proposals out for a site that is behind Interroll. So we're basically looking at phase 2 now, development of the Paulding Commerce Park. We have some proposals or requests for proposals out for geotechnical work on phase 2, for archaeological work on phase 2, and for design work on phase 2. So we have all those requests for proposals out. We'll be getting bids in. We've already gotten some of them in, but we'll be getting additional bids in over the next couple of weeks, and we'll probably be bringing some of those agreements back to you next month. So just wanted to give everybody a heads up that we are moving forward with additional development of the park. We are, at this point, shortlisted on at least one project that is looking at phase 2. So exciting potential, exciting opportunity. I would say just as good, if not better, catch than Interroll. So we'll all be very happy if we can land one of those. So any questions on Commerce Park that we're addressing?
Did they get the electrical?
What's that?
They get the electrical fixed yet for the sign?
Don't yet have the electrical worked out for the sign. We're looking at a couple of alternatives, potentially solar to provide lighting for the sign. Problem with the sign is that it operates off LED lighting, so it doesn't generate much of an electric bill. So since it doesn't generate much of an electric bill, we're having some difficulties with the pricing on getting the power to the sign. So I can understand on the one hand, if you're not making much money off the electrical, you really can't do a whole lot in terms of providing free or pro bono to the sign. But on the other hand, if we have some alternative options, we'll at least take a look at those.
That, and if you are gonna generate a lot more business, it's probably a good investment to do that.
Well, and we kind of think if we're shortlisted on the second project, and it looks like it's a good shot, then we'll probably have a lot more leverage.
Because I think it will really, I mean, just add to it with that world shining.
Yeah. Alan, do you have a question? We'll probably get prices for both. The archaeological is probably easier, or as easy to do over the whole site as it is for phase 2. The geotech work, because we need to turn it around pretty quickly for one of the proposals, we're probably going to concentrate on phase 2 and then do phase 3 later on. But the archaeological probably doesn't take a whole lot more time to do the whole thing than what it takes to do phase 2. So, any other questions?
Update on Dallas Industrial Park.
You're all aware that we've made a land transaction to add some additional property to the Dallas Industrial Park, which is our approval on our agenda item down below. So we have been able to add 10 additional acres to the Dallas Industrial Park. The great thing about those 10 acres is it's actually 10 usable acres. Most of the time when we go out and acquire property, we have topographic issues in Georgia, we have streams, we have all kinds of issues that tend to cut down on the size of usable property you have. So, for example, over at Old Mill, we were looking at originally a 50-acre tract. However, by the time we took out floodplains, creeks, setbacks, all of that, we ended up with somewhere around a 20 to 25-acre usable piece of property. This particular piece of property that we're adding into the Dallas Industrial Park butts up against the existing road, the industrial road. So we don't lose any land to infrastructure. We don't have to set aside any for right-of-way, and it adds to the existing parcel that is there. So it's basically 10 acres that is almost 100% usable. So provides us with another great building pad location in there. Could be used for a single tenant, or it could be used for 2 tenants. It could be split in half. So it's a great addition to the park, and we do have at least 2 prospects that we're dealing with right now that are looking at this particular spot where we added the 10 acres in. So immediately it is usable inventory for us. We probably will go ahead and do some preliminary design on it, since we don't have any background engineering on it like we do on the rest of the park. We'll probably go ahead and do some preliminary design to show what those pads look like, and then make a decision as to whether or not to go ahead and clear the property. As you guys are aware, when industrial tenants come in, they really don't like to look at trees. That kind of tends to scare prospects off. They like to look at least cleared sites, if not graded sites. So we do probably want to go ahead and get the trees off there, but we'll make that decision probably next month.
All right, any questions from the board? All right. Report from the West Georgia Joint Development Authority, Mr. Shipp.
Have a new report since the last meeting. Next meeting is Thursday of May.
All right, thank you. Alden Chamber report, Ms. Wright.
Yesterday, we hosted our industry appreciation breakfast and had over 150 in attendance here. It was a great morning, great breakfast, and very honored to give out the awards for Manufacturer of the Year to Cadillac Products. The Industry of the Year was Interol, and Wellstar received the Innovation Award for 2014. So great event. We will host a legislative wrap-up breakfast on the 22nd of next week. We are finalizing our federal agenda, and we'll be going to Washington the 29th through May 1st with about 15 people going. We are hosting a lunch and learn next week, sponsored by Members First Credit Union, about business credit. And I think that we've got around 30 people signed up for that. Our candidates forum for the primary election will be hosted next week as well at Chattahoochee Tech. We have that organized, and looking forward to that. Everyone is welcome to come. We have started a young professionals program that is working very well. This is the 3rd month we've hosted it. There are around 30 or 40 attending every month, and it's growing. And we have also started a small business roundtable with about 14 small business owners or managers of stores. So we're pleased to have those going.
All right. Any questions, Carolyn? I think it's interesting to note that Cadillac Industries is one of the first properties that the IBA did. It's going on 20 years since Cadillac located here. And it was a great success story from the beginning. They've grown and continue to be a great player in the community. And it was nice to see them recognized. Jamie Gilbert is absent today, correct?
He is meeting with a prospect. He had a meeting at 8 o'clock this morning. He wasn't sure how long it was going to take, so he may show up later, but if not, he's doing what we hired him to do and what we wanted him to be doing. So he was meeting with a prospect this morning.
Okay, next section, item 3 is approvals. It says approval to sell 37.838 acres of residential property in exchange for 9.92 acres of property adjacent to Dallas Industrial Park. I think probably should be exchange rather than sale. Those properties were appraised, and the amount of acreage we are receiving is the adjusted amount per acre, correct?
Actually, we're receiving a benefit. The appraisal on the 37 acres was $6,000 an acre. The appraisal on the 9.92 was just under $24,000 an acre. So the exchange, if you were to do it directly by the appraisals, would be almost 4 to 1. And as you can see, we're a little under that. So we came out a little bit to the good on that in terms of appraised values. And again, we ended up with property that was literally almost 100% usable, whereas the 37.8 acres that we had, probably looking at about somewhere between 20 to 25 of that, which was actually usable for us. So if you did that math on what the usable value of 25 acres versus the usable value of the 10 acres, then we would come out way ahead. So I feel very comfortable in the exchange that we've made, and certainly think it's a big benefit to the Industrial Building Authority.
All right, is there a motion on the approval?
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion by Mr. Underwood. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Shipp. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Passes unanimously. All right, we have a need for an executive session to discuss a land transaction. We have any litigation we need to talk about while we're in there?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Is there a motion to enter executive session for purposes of discussing land? Have a motion by Mayor Debbie and a second by Chairman Austin. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Passes unanimously. We'll return shortly. Hopefully.